instant celebrity for some. But for every sash that leads to stardom, there's a tiara that's less tarnished.
I want to apologize to my family.
Over the next 2 hours, we've got Miss America's misbehaving.
Nude pics of Miss America bring big bucks.
Miss Universe winners caught up in controversy. And beauty queens from around the world busted for their bad deeds.
If she makes even the slightest mistake, she will be immediately replaced.
15 of the world's hottest women. 15 sensational scandals. It's Beauty Queens Gone Wrong. Next. Bearing all can be a shortcut to fame or infamy. The latter is true for number 15 on our list of Beauty Queens Gone Wrong. Diva from Down Under, Erin McNaught. Long before donning her first sash, Erin McNaught pursued a degree in wildlife biology at the Queensland Institute of Technology.
Erin McNaught is from the Gold Coast, which is just outside Brisbane. Now, this has got some of the most beautiful beaches in the world and some of the most beautiful bodies.
In June of 2005, the Brisbane brunette took off her lab coat and took home a tiara at her very first beauty pageant, FHM Magazine's Miss University.
FHM Magazine's Miss University pageant is seen as a very huge deal. You've got girls who travel in from all over Australia and also New Zealand to compete in this.
Shortly after her win, McNaught caught the eye of renowned Aussie photographer Michael Plumridge.
He soon started employing her to do, shoots and small modeling gigs, and she started to learn the ropes of the whole modeling world. When a model is up and coming and a major photographer is on their side, it can help their career no end.
Apparently so. In May of 2006, Erin was invited to compete in the Miss Australia pageant.
When I was presented with the opportunity to do it, I found out, about the pageant and sort of what it stood for, what it did, and it sounded like a really good idea.
But Erin only had 2 weeks to prepare.
Most girls typically who prepare for pageants train for years. There's so much preparation that goes into it, so only having 2 weeks is a very short amount of time.
There's a lot to be done. Yes, there's some fast things you can do with spray tans and things now, but even still, there's a lot to be done 2 weeks before the pageant.
McNaught's natural beauty and intelligence won over the judges. Not only was she crowned Miss Australia 2006, she won by a record number of votes.
I thought that girl stood head and shoulders above the rest, and she had the best chance of getting into Miss Universe.
To me, it sort of feels like the epitome of the best you can be. You're trying to be beautiful both inside and out.
Erin was an instant star. Then, just 2 weeks after the pageant, scandalous photos surfaced.
A popular Australian men's magazine called Zoo Weekly featured Erin on the cover of their magazine topless.
The newly crowned Miss Australia was given a new name, McNaughty.
The nickname McNaughty definitely came out from the media. That was reported in the newspapers and everyone picked it up and ran with it.
They attracted so much attention. The Australian press was talking all about it. The public were all talking about it. It was no longer her beauty and her poise and her intelligence. It suddenly became her breasts.
I don't know what all the fuss is about. It's not like people haven't seen this sort of thing before.
Certain conservative arms of Australian society then started to discuss whether or not anybody in this sort of pageant or a pageant winner should be depicting themselves in such a fashion.
Several pageant judges called for her disqualification.
Taking my title away, obviously, would take away that opportunity to represent my country, which is something I've been really looking forward to.
She should be dethroned. There's grounds for immediate disqualification and taking the crown and everything else that she's collected in Melbourne.
I'd like to tell the judges to make sure that they have the facts and to look at the pictures themselves. Don't believe what you hear from other people.
Pageant director Jim Davey downplayed the photos. Erin had posed for them 2 years before the Miss Australia pageant. Davy put the controversy to rest when he announced that Erin would keep her crown and compete for Miss Universe.
There's nothing in the rules that says you can't do a trashy photo shoot.
Davy wasn't Erin's only fan. Donald Trump, owner of the Miss Universe pageant, also thought highly of the Aussie knockout.
Days before the Miss Universe competition, Donald Trump had actually invited Erin to walk him out onto David Letterman's show when he made an appearance.
Bookmakers around the world named McNaught the early favorite to win Miss Universe. In the end, McNaught didn't even make the top 20.
So it seems that perhaps those photos were too racy. It looked like it did hurt her as far as the actual competition came.
I mean, everyone's got a little bit of a dodgy past. I don't think they really held that against her. I actually think it's because they thought other people were more deserving of the crown.
After the Miss Universe pageant, McNaught returned to Sydney disappointed, but determined, and determination pays off.
She's actually the host of a video game show called Cyber Shack, and she's really a household name in Australia.
Erin is doing very well, thank you very much. In Australia, she is pretty much a celebrity.
She would have been just as successful without the scandal as she would have been with it.
Coming up, is this international beauty a pageant queen or a drama queen?
It was very difficult for me to finish the pageant because I was in pain.
And later, the naked truth. A Miss America contestant bears all.
She went on the Today Show with Matt Lauer and revealed the photos herself.
On TV, beauty pageants are all frozen smiles and air kisses. Apparently, that's only to mask the backstage backstabbing. Our number 14 story features beauty queen done wrong, Ingrid Marie Rivera.
There's going to be healthy competition and there's going to be unhealthy competition.
I've seen girls get the dresses cut off. Yeah, it can get a bit rough.
24-year-old Ingrid Marie Rivera rose from humble roots to become a true pageant pro.
When I was little, Dayanara Torres won the pageant in 1993. And I think that's the point where I could say I wanted to be like her. I want to win Miss Universe.
In November 2007, Ingrid competed in the Miss Puerto Rico Universe pageant.
The other girls who competed with her definitely looked at her as their prime competition.
The stakes were high. The winner would go on to compete in the 2008 Miss Universe pageant.
Let me shed a light about pageants in Latin America. It is revered to the same extent that you and I might watch Super Bowl Sunday.
On November 18th, 2007, preliminaries were held in the Miss Puerto Rico pageant. The day created big headlines.
At the dressing rooms, I changed my clothing from bathing suit to my evening gown dress. I used my makeup brush to retouch my makeup in the face and also the chest. And instantly, I noticed the brush was wet and it began itching, and I knew something was wrong.
According to published reports, when Ingrid told pageant officials, they initially suspected an allergic reaction or possibly a case of nerves. A security officer had another explanation.
He was the first to notice and to tell me that, yes, something was wrong. He asked me where my brushes were and what happened and what was the feeling like. And he did like the suggestion, it was pepper spray.
Ingrid made it through the preliminaries, but a few days later, her nightmare started all over again.
The night of the 23rd was the final night, and as I changed to my evening dress, I felt an itchiness at the low V cut. And I thought it was the jewelry, the stones that was placed there, but then I knew it wasn't because when I was on stage, it became worse. It was itching more, and I knew it was the same feeling I had at the preliminaries. To avoid crying, I had to be always facing up, have my face up, trying to avoid crying. It was unbearable.
At this point, pageant officials reportedly suspected foul play.
They knew something was wrong. They could see the redness in my face, in my chest.
If somebody did
put pepper spray on Miss Puerto Rico's dress and poison and toxins in her makeup. It's awful, horrible. But how also could they have done it? Because your clothes are never alone. You always have like a chaperone or security or someone watching your clothes. I don't understand how it would have happened.
Despite her cosmetic crisis, Ingrid beat out 29 rivals and was crowned Miss Puerto Rico Universe.
It was very difficult for me to finish the pageant because I was in pain.
A week after the pageant, officials turned Ingrid's clothing over to police to be tested for pepper spray. In December 2007, forensic experts came back with their findings. There was no sign of pepper spray on Ingrid's gown or her makeup brush.
Obviously, I was completely surprised that it turned out to be negative. Like I said, that can be possible.
It was drama. I mean, you expect that in like what Miss Congeniality in the movie, but to have it happen in real life.
They were putting into question my reputation, my integrity as a human being, if I was lying or not. I wasn't able to defend myself because I was under investigation.
If police determined that Ingrid gave false statements, she could be charged with a felony.
Now, a few days later, when it came out that now they're investigating whether she told the truth or not, well, honey, that made the story even better. Did you have sabotage, or did you have someone planting this story to help them win? We couldn't get enough of it.
At all times, I offered the police the truth, very detailed truth of everything that happened during that week.
She will be interviewed, and if it's necessary, we'll request her to make her polygraph test.
I was willing to take a lie detector, and I told them, and they consider it. Yes, they did.
My intuition that she was not involved.
They had done some tests on the gown and on, I think, some of her brushes, and they came back negative. Ends up they tested the wrong stuff.
Police decided to do another round of tests.
When they tested the right gown and the right other wear on stage, and it came back positive for pepper spray, then I think she was probably vindicated. Hey, she won, so good for her.
What I wanted from all of this is to have my name cleared out. That for people to know that it was true, I didn't make this up.
Ingrid was vindicated in the whole story. And that's very important because she's going to represent us in the Miss Universe pageant. So she has to be a person that we can trust.
Although Ingrid was in the clear, a bigger question remained. Who doctored her dress?
After the investigation was over, the organization and I know who was responsible. Those are the people involved. And the police department knows also, but I can go there.
When we return, the juicy details about a pageant queen in danger of having more than her title stripped.
I got this voicemail from a very upset director. She felt that I had hurt the organization. I met Aaron because I was dating Nick, his older brother. We dated for a few months.
Our next beauty queen might be best known for hot hookups with Nick Carter, and then later his younger brother Aaron.
He gets on his knee on stage and he says, "Will you marry me?" And I go, "What the hell?" And he asks me again, "Will you marry me?"
But before that love triangle, Carrie Ann Peniche was a beauty queen involved in a sexy pageant shocker that earned her the number 13 spot on our list. In October 2004, 20-year-old Carrie Ann Peniche was a rising star in the pageant world. Then a show of skin tarnished Carrie Ann's tiara. But before her rocky road as a beauty queen, Carrie Ann was just a small-town girl from the Pacific Northwest.
I did Miss Oregon Teen USA my senior year of high school. And I had no idea what I was doing. I wore my homecoming dress for evening gown competition. And I was so intimidated when I was there. There was at least 100 girls competing for the Oregon title. And here I am. I don't know what I'm doing, but I won. And was off to Miss Teen USA, Donald Trump's pageant. I worked really, really hard. I spent at least 4 months training for the pageant.
Carrie Ann didn't win the 2002 Miss Teen USA title. But the next year, she represented Oregon in a different pageant, Miss United States Teen.
I felt like because I had competed at Miss Teen USA 2002, like I had a little bit of an advantage of knowing what to expect, like what the judges are looking for, and how to prepare myself better for it.
Her experience paid off. Carrie Ann took home the crown.
I just looked at my mom, and then I started jumping up and down. It was really exciting because after not doing well at Miss Teen USA, coming home and saying, okay, now I won Miss United States Teen felt really good.
In 2004, towards the end of her reign, Carrie Ann said bye-bye Oregon, hello Hollywood.
I was going to school at Portland State University, and then the organization asked me to move either to North Carolina or Los Angeles. I chose LA. And it didn't take long before Playboy came along and wanted to know if I would be interested in posing for the October issue of Playboy.
Playboy, for some reason, has these like little tentacle feelers that go out, and girls in pageants are like, my year's over. Playboy!
My initial reaction to the offer of doing Playboy was absolutely not. My mom raised me with like honesty and integrity. There wasn't any amount of money that could make me basically screw over the pageant or make the pageant look bad.
Appearing nude while still representing the pageant would be grounds for immediate dismissal.
After talking more and more with my agents about it and my mom, we came to an agreement to do it.
The agreement was that Carrie Ann Spread would appear in the November 2004 edition, the month after her reign as Miss United States Teen ended.
A lot of people also think that Playboy is like this big door that opens up and provides all these other opportunities, and for some people, maybe it has, like Pam Anderson, Carmen Electra.
My experience shooting with Playboy was the most terrifying experience of my life. But I'd never posed nude. I'd modeled, obviously, but, never taken naked pictures.
With Carrie Ann's sexy photo spread finished, Playboy promoted the Beauty Queen in its October issue.
No nude photo was published in it, but there was, on the very last page, Carrie Ann, Miss United States Teen.
There was one problem. Carrie Ann hadn't told Miss United States Teen officials about her decision to pose.
One of the delegates' fathers had called the organizations, and it was like 9 o'clock in the morning, and I got this voicemail from a very upset director. She felt that I had hurt the organization, that I ruined her pageant, and that why didn't I tell her? And I explained to her why I didn't tell her that I was going to be doing Playboy was because it wasn't during my reign. And she demanded back her crown, the banner, and all of my prizes, and that I was no longer a Miss United States Teen.
Once Playboy takes the pictures, I'm sure they can do whatever they want with them. But you posed with your clothes off during your reign. That's a pretty good way to lose your title.
I absolutely think that Miss US Teen should have lost her title. I'm the kind of person who thinks that even if she would have posed for Playboy a year after her title, somehow she should have had her title taken away.
The tiara tug of war was brief. Though she only had 2 weeks left in her reign, Miss United States Teen officially stripped Paniche of her title and removed her name from their records as the 2003 winner. Carrie Ann didn't return her crown.
I did the best I could to have a solution, and I have nothing bad to say about them. Everything that they said to me and taking their title away, that's fair. It was fair. Do I think that Miss United States teams should be posing naked? No, not during their reign.
Coming up, you'll never guess how a beauty queen's sexy life sent shockwaves.
The fact that she was in so much trouble for dating celebrities, she's just a girl having fun, and she'd live in the moment.
Brittany, Paris, and Lindsay, a 20-year-old with an active love life is no longer big news. But back in 1973, Miss World's high-profile hookup sparked controversy and landed her on our list. Our number 12 beauty queen gone wrong, Marjorie Wallace. Marjorie Wallace was born in Indiana in 1955. Early on, her good looks opened doors.
I've been modeling since I was 15.
But Marjorie found that pageants offered even more opportunities than modeling, so she tossed her tiara in the ring. At just 19, the blonde beauty won the Miss Indiana World Contest. She then represented the U.S. at the 1973 Miss World pageant at London's Royal Albert Hall. That night, Marjorie became the first American to win the Miss World crown.
How does it feel to be Miss World?
It's really a hard thing to describe.
Overnight, Marjorie was an international celebrity. Her personal life became public, including her romance with legendary race car driver Peter Revston. However, her affair soon ran out of gas. As the new Miss World, Marjorie had her pick of 70 stars, including soccer phenom George Best and singer Tom Jones.
I don't think I'll be free for dinner.
I was talking about breakfast.
In the 70s, the pageants were at its height. So for one of these stars to land a pageant queen was really something to be proud of for them. It was exciting, they were gorgeous, they were beautiful, and there was a lot of attention on them.
Apparently, pageant officials were also paying attention, but didn't like what they saw. There'd never been a Miss World with such an open love life.
The standards for beauty queens in the early 70s was very high. They were supposed to be this sort of perfect woman. It was almost like their life had to be pageants. So to have someone who was dating someone outside a pageant was really sort of scandalous.
For the Miss World organization, Marjorie was a source of embarrassment. In March 1974, Marjorie was fired because she, quote, failed to maintain Miss World's reputation. Marjorie had only worn the crown for 104 days.
Seeing her being dethroned for dating someone famous, and now you see girls being dethroned for having crazy, bad, in poor taste pictures, it just shows how society's view of things have changed.
Losing her title didn't interrupt Marjorie's social life. The former beauty queen later enjoyed high-profile romances with tennis great Jimmy Connors and actor Don Johnson. After the scandal, Marjorie went on to host Good Morning Los Angeles and was a co-host when Entertainment Tonight premiered in September 1981.
I think Marjorie's situation is kind of almost funny now. The fact that she was in so much trouble for dating celebrities. She's just a girl having fun, and she's living the moment.
When scandal strikes, some beauty queens hide from the spotlight. But not our next pageant winner. Meet number 11, Amy Palumbo. On June 16, 2007, 22-year-old Amy Palumbo was crowned Miss New Jersey. Less than 2 weeks later, the pageant queen was in danger of being dethroned.
Somebody blackmailed her.
If she didn't step down from her crown, they would come out and it would be embarrassing to both her and the entire organization.
In late 2006, Amy competed in her very first beauty contest, the Miss Seashore Line pageant in New Jersey.
Amy entered the program in Miss New Jersey because she was a singer and she was trying to further her career to become a singer on Broadway.
She won. Then in July 2007, Amy entered the Miss New Jersey pageant. She captured that crown too. 2 pageants, 2 wins.
She's just a prettier version of the girl next door, and I think that's really intriguing to a lot of people.
Pageant rules require every contestant to champion a cause.
All contestants are judged for citizenship.
Amy chose internet safety, warning kids about the dangers of online predators. For Palumbo, the choice was prophetic. 10 days after Amy was crowned Miss New Jersey, an anonymous package arrived. In it were photos from a website.
This so-called threatening package contained a letter to her, plus photographs. It was sent to both her and organization officials at Miss America.
They had a meeting with her. They told her that they had received some photos that somebody had sent to them directly at their office. There were apparently some Facebook pictures that she didn't want to get leaked out.
When I heard there were racy pictures of Amy Palumbo, I thought, oh no.
This went on for weeks, and everyone thought that these pictures were just going to be X-rated.
But Amy contended the photos were harmless and hoped to resolve the issue quietly. Until the story was leaked to the press. Palumbo decided the best defense is a good offense.
She went on the Today Show with Matt Lauer and revealed the photos herself.
I want to end this, and with the advice of Tony as well, that it's time to reveal them, because obviously, papers are starting to post more pictures that people are sending in that actually aren't even of me.
Amy was taking a gamble. She didn't see the photos as scandalous. Would the viewers agree?
And I think the public was actually relieved when they saw for themselves that the pictures simply were relatively innocent.
I think I saw the one where she's like in jeans and like her legs are opened up. I didn't see the one where her boyfriend, I guess, was like biting on her breast.
As far as the pictures we received to date, there's no nudity, there's no lewdness, nothing of that sort.
She took control in her own hands, and she said, I'm not going to let anybody control me or blackmail me and make me feel like I have done anything to disrespect the crown.
I never realized it would become such a huge part of the public eye, and that's why these photos were considered to be innocuous between my friends and I.
The photos came from Amy's private Facebook account, which requires a password to gain access. Only her friends and family knew that password.
I really don't think any of my family members or friends would do this to me. I have a great support system at home and at school.
Still, the question remained, would Amy be penalized for the controversial pictures? While pageant officials pondered Amy's fate, Palumbo faced new rumors that she purposely started the controversy herself.
There were disgusting captions put to the photos, which, if anybody has any doubt that this is a publicity stunt, nobody would ever attach those kind of captions to their own pictures for no matter what.
When, in the end, we see the photos and we're all like, really? Like, that's what all this was about? Like, show me some skin. So, I don't know. Was it a publicity stunt? Only Amy can tell.
On July 12, 2007, Miss New Jersey pageant officials held a press conference.
Because of Amy's forthrightness and the manner in which she revealed the photos on TV, Amy Palumbo should continue her reign as Miss.
With her tiara intact, Amy continued her pageant pursuits. In January 2008, she competed for Miss America in Las Vegas.
When Miss America Pageant 2008 came around, people had long forgotten about the photos. At that point, she just had to compete, and it really turned out that she didn't compete on the same level.
Amy didn't add another crown to her collection, but she walked away with some hard-earned wisdom. Still, the source of the mysterious package remains a mystery.
I think that we are going to have so many more scandals. And, I think that word to the wise to the ladies, be careful who you hang around with. You're only as good as the friends that you surround yourself with.
I have learned a lot of lessons from this. Number one, that no matter what happens around you, that can't change the qualities of the person who you are on the inside.
Coming up, you won't believe how this beauty queen went from Miss Universe to the Biggest Loser.
I mean, my gosh, that's pressure. And Trump was not shy about it. He was not pleased.
Some beauty queens break the law. Some pose nude. But when one pageant winner packed on some excess pounds, she became number 10 in our countdown. Alicia Machado. Alicia was born on December 6, 1976, in Maracay, Venezuela.
She had a Cuban father, a Spanish mother, and it gave her this sort of exotic look.
Alicia is from Venezuela, where pageants are king or queen. Baseball and pageants, I think, in Latin America are very huge.
I know some former Miss Universes who have been from Venezuela. They return back to their country after their reign, and they are tax exempt.
Alicia competed in her first beauty pageant at age 4. 15 years later, in 1996, she earned the pageant world's top crown, Miss Universe. For Alicia, taking home the tiara was both a beginning and an end. On the night of the pageant, Machado reportedly weighed 118 pounds.
So many girls, when they go to compete in a pageant, they go to drastic measures. They starve themselves, they work out like crazy.
According to Alicia, for months leading up to the contest, she lived on broccoli, pineapple, and diet pills.
If you're not naturally a size -0, you work to become thin. For a lot of girls, it's not our natural body weight.
According to published reports, after winning the Miss Universe crown, Alicia said she wanted to eat and sleep.
After you compete, you know, you have a pizza, and that's just normal, and so you start to gain a little bit more weight.
When you win, you're so busy, you can't keep up that lifestyle. And so then they, you know, can let themselves go a little bit.
I remember after winning Miss America the next week, I sat in my hotel room and I ate an entire box of ginger snaps.
You have all the best food right there, and so you're like, and you just keep eating and eating.
Apparently, that's what Alicia did. 6 months after becoming Miss Universe, reports claimed the 19-year-old beauty queen's weight had ballooned. Alicia said it was 19 pounds. The new owner of the Miss Universe pageant, Donald Trump, said it was more than 50.
He was pretty mortified when he saw Alicia and made quite a stink about it.
She went from 118 to 170 in a period of 9 or 10 months.
Donald Trump came out and said, you got to drop some weight because you have an image to uphold.
The Donald even went on the Howard Stern show and called Alicia an eating machine. Trump wanted his Miss Universe to shape up fast.
I mean, my gosh, that's pressure. And Trump was not shy about it. He was not pleased. This was his first title holder, and he wanted that weight to come off of her.
Machado agreed to begin an intense diet and exercise regime with Trump's personal trainer at his Mar-a-Lago spa in Palm Beach, Florida. But when Alicia arrived for her first workout, surprise! She was met by a gallery of reporters.
Her workout sessions were now public. Media was invited to shoot anything they wanted from any angle, and they did. Donald Trump used a publicity stunt? Never.
Still, Alicia's hard work paid off. By the time her year-long reign ended, Machado lost nearly all of the extra weight.
She showed up for the Miss Universe pageant that year to crown her successor. She looked markedly better.
So in many cases, sometimes a pageant scandal can turn out to be a positive.
Alicia was no longer Miss Universe, but the constant publicity led to several TV appearances and ultimately more controversy. In 2005, on the set of a popular Spanish reality show, Machado was taped apparently having sex with one of her housemates.
They captured a moment of her getting very intimate with one of her co-stars.
The video download soon became a sensation in Latin America. According to published reports, Alicia was engaged to baseball superstar Bobby Abreu at the time.
You have to be really mindful of how you're acting on reality shows because they can edit pretty much any way they want. Granted, they can't edit you to having an intimate moment with a guy on the show unless that actually happened. And so you really have to be cautious, especially if you're already engaged.
When her fiancé saw the footage, he then broke up with her. Their engagement was over. He wasn't so thrilled with seeing this caught on tape.
Later in 2005, Alicia received some positive press. After struggling with anorexia and bulimia for years, Alicia became a spokesperson addressing the dangers of eating disorders.
She wound up losing the weight and becoming in really great shape. So maybe for a lot of people, she was a good role model too.
In 2006, Alicia won a new title as the first Miss Universe ever to pose for Playboy. She dedicated the issue to Donald Trump. When we return, find out what happens when a Caribbean queen makes a scandalous revelation.
We ran the story. It was front page. It was huge.
Generally, pageant contestants who promote family values can't lose. Except in the case of our number 9 beauty queen gone wrong, Sarah Lawrence.
I grew up this very house in Kingston, and growing up, family was very, very important to me. So even at an early stage in life, you know, everything I did or everything I thought, the values instilled was deeply grounded in what was taught to me by my family.
Sarah graduated high school and attended college in Virginia. After getting her degree, Sarah was ready for new challenges.
Growing up, my parents were very strong on getting my academics down, and so pageants and stuff like that were in the forefront of my mind. However, I decided, you know, I just wanted to go ahead and give it what I could, and went ahead, and Miss Jamaica was my first pageant, and the first title won.
Beauty pageants are extremely popular in Jamaica. From the moment you're crowned, you become an immediate celebrity.
In early 2006, the newly crowned Miss Jamaica was ready to take on the world.
Winning Miss Jamaica was a really high point in my life. I felt wonderful. I felt, you know, I'm ready now. I have the opportunity to go out there and represent my country. So it was an overwhelming feeling of responsibility and appreciation.
Sarah's victory qualified her to compete in the Miss World competition in Warsaw, Poland in August 2006.
I went into Miss World just like I went into Miss Jamaica. I'm just going to do my best. Not for me, but for my country. To know that in this auditorium in Warsaw, Poland, Jamaica flags were waving in the crowds and Jamaica's flag was projected on the screen.
Out of the 106 contestants, the Jamaican beauty finished in the top 6. After the Miss World pageant, Sarah continued her duties back home.
I had the honor to go to many courtesy calls, whether it's to offices or ministries or the Governor General, which was wonderful for me.
Even before her pageant success, Sarah maintained a serious romantic relationship with her boyfriend.
I've known him from the beginning of time. He's a lifelong friend of mine. Our relationship has evolved, and in the last couple of years, the dynamics have changed.
Halfway through Sarah's reign as Miss Jamaica, the couple discovered news that would change everything.
I found out I was pregnant several months after returning from the Miss World competition.
Most women would be thrilled with the news. Not so for a pageant queen.
She came to me, to the Observer, and told me that she was pregnant. We ran the story. It was front page, it was huge.
The requirements are you cannot be a mother at the time you compete. But if you win, you cannot become pregnant while you're a title holder.
The reason that the whole pregnancy rule is put into the pageants, I believe, first and foremost, is because your year is so demanding. How in the heck are you going to be traveling all around the world, doing all these events, when you've got a 9-month belly on you?
Being pregnant, there's just no way to do that job and to be responsible to both parties, to your child and to the organization.
They don't want you to be pregnant, they don't want you to be married, and they don't want the scandal behind it either.
But once I found out about my pregnancy, I naturally confided in those whose support I needed most. So that was my parents, my family, and close friends.
After consulting with pageant officials, Sarah faced a difficult choice: end her pregnancy or relinquish her crown.
Obviously, there was a plethora of emotions that went through. You know, there's the fear and the anxiety. Also, you know, just anticipating what was to come. However, underlying all of that was my conviction as what needed to be done in the situation at the time, and that was to keep my child.
She understood the contract. The contract was broken. She came forward, she said, listen, this is the situation, and I plan to have my child. This deafening silence came from the pageant organizers.
The Jamaica pageant officials, they were surprised initially, and they were willing to take whatever course of action I wanted to. And that was pretty much to go out and express to the media and the public that I'm relinquishing my crown because of my pregnancy.
Sarah released a statement in March 2007.
It was considered scandalous.
Soon, scandal turned into overwhelming support for Sarah's decision.
She came clean, she was honest. British Rail accepted her decision to have her child, and they applauded that decision.
I was so glad to know that the overall sentiment of the Jamaican people was that they expressed their support. And my boyfriend, he was also extremely supportive. He was there from the beginning.
Officials from the Miss Jamaica pageant also seemed to be on Sarah's side. She was allowed to retain her title and serve out her term.
You've got to be wise to the ways of the world. And it was an excellent diplomatic move, I think.
But when it was time to crown her successor, Sarah was a no-show. She had other duties to attend to.
My child was born on August 25, 2007, and that was actually the day of the Miss Jamaica coronation show, where I was supposed to be handing over to the next girl. So it was very ironic and poetic. When I look at my child and I look at my blessings from God, I'm just very grateful, and I'd go through it again and again for him.
Coming up, Girl Interrupted. The surprising story of a beauty queen vexed by her ex.
I was devastated. He snapped a picture. I did not pose for it.
A beautiful young pageant queen had a chance to become the first Native American to be crowned Miss America. Until an ex-boyfriend stepped in. Number 8 on our list, former Miss North Carolina, Rebecca Revels.
I'm from the Lumbee tribe. The Lumbees are the largest tribe east of the Mississippi, and I'm just very proud. It defines me. It's who I am. I was a very, very shy little girl, and so my mother thought if I did a pageant, it would bring me out of my shyness. So I was actually 2 when I started competing. So it was always a lifelong dream to represent my tribe.
Rebecca's dream included breaking into the beauty pageant big leagues. In 2002, the 24-year-old entered the Miss North Carolina pageant.
Miss North Carolina was the ultimate competition for me. It was amazing. It was scary. It was tense.
It was also rewarding.
I won Miss North Carolina, you know, it was kind of crazy. My family was going crazy, but it really, there was like a calm that came over me.
That calm was short-lived. Rebecca was gearing up for her next big move.
You only had a month to prepare for the Miss America, so yeah, it was already in the back of my mind. I was already planning.
Before Rebecca got a chance to compete for Miss America, the beauty queen received a phone call that changed her life.
So after a month in 2002, my pageant board called me, and I thought it was to discuss my wardrobe allowance. So I didn't take anyone with me. It's fine. We're going to have this meeting.
According to court papers, at the meeting, pageant officials revealed an email sent to them by a former boyfriend.
It alluded to the fact that I was immoral and should not represent North Carolina, that he possibly had nude pictures of me, and the last line read, "Nude pics of Miss America bring big bucks nowadays." I was devastated. I cried. I told them about the relationship that we had, and basically said, I was honest with them. I said, yes, when we were in a dorm room, when I was in college, he snapped a picture. I did not pose for it. It did exist, and they said they would take that information to Miss America and say, this is what she has said about it. It doesn't exist anymore.
It didn't take long for pageant officials to weigh in.
The Miss CEO of Miss America said, you know, there may be a picture, so we don't want her to compete in the Miss America pageant. They told me, basically, we don't want you as Miss North Carolina.
The pageant's position was a shock to Revels. After meeting with her parents and her business manager, Rebecca reluctantly decided to resign.
I just felt like I was forced into the resignation. This is the bottom line.
Her story quickly grabbed headlines.
I started getting phone calls. I started getting people from every local news station, and then all the affiliates picked it up.
Soon after her resignation, Revels contacted a lawyer to discuss the possibility of filing a lawsuit.
His advice was just to sue Miss America and Miss North Carolina, as well as my ex-boyfriend. Just sue them all. No, he wasn't that way, but he felt like I had been wronged and that I should sue to get my crown back, basically.
Revels' suit charged Miss North Carolina and Miss America with breach of contract, and she charged her ex-boyfriend with invasion of privacy and malicious interference with a contractual relationship. pageant officials contended they were within their rights to terminate Rebecca. Her ex-boyfriend also maintained his innocence. While the case was pending, Rebecca was allowed to continue her reign. But there was a catch. First runner-up Misty Clymer was also allowed to represent North Carolina at the Miss America pageant.
Misty Clymer, Miss North Carolina. Rebecca Revels, Miss North Carolina.
In the end, Rebecca never took the stage.
I didn't get to compete in the Miss America pageant. We were there for a week, and I rehearsed. I learned all the routines just alongside Misty. And then I went back to court, and this time it was a federal court. Now, this was against Miss America, and we have to convince the judge that I should be the one to compete. He said no.
The judge sided with the pageant's right to remove Rebecca. Only Misty would go on as Miss North Carolina in the pageant. Misty ended up finishing in the top 15, while Rebecca watched from the audience. Years later, she has no regrets.
I think filing the lawsuits was imperative for my situation because it made a statement. No, I didn't get to compete for Miss America, but I fought to compete. My case is studied in law schools today.
Rebecca's legal battles weren't a total loss. A judge found her ex-boyfriend guilty of wrongful interference with a contract and awarded Rebecca Revels $11,000 in damages.
It's sweet gratification, I guess, would be a good way to say it.
Rebecca still has fond memories of her pageant experience.
Even though I didn't get to compete, I'm still Miss North Carolina 2002. I always will be, and it's still an amazing thing that happened to me.
Coming up, don't miss the Russian policewoman turned pageant queen and the scandal that started a Cold War.
Oksana Fedorova was unable to fulfill the obligations expected of a Miss Universe.
She's a wrestling instructor, wears a badge, and is an expert with firearms. She is also the first Miss Universe to be stripped of her crown. Number 7 on our list of beauty queens gone wrong is Oksana Fedorova. When Oksana Fedorova was born in December 1977, the Soviet Union was not known for producing international beauty queens.
I don't believe beauty in Russia is in your face as it is in America or other parts of the world.
While Oksana dreamt of life as a model or actress, she eventually followed a more practical path.
And I decided to go to the police school.
In 1995, Oksana graduated with honors from the Pskov Police Academy. After working as an investigator, she moved to St. Petersburg to continue her education. Fedorova also started modeling. That opened the door to the world of beauty pageants.
I came to Moscow to take part in the contest Miss Russia. I won Miss Russia, and the next step was Miss Universe.
In 2001, Oksana arrived in San Juan, Puerto Rico with high hopes, but modest expectations.
I decided for myself, relax and be natural.
When the final votes were tallied, Oksana blew away the field.
She came out in this unbelievable white gown that was just breathtaking, and she absolutely deserved to win.
When I got the crown, I was really excited. I was absolutely happy. I was proud for my country.
The title wasn't just an honor for Oksana. She was the first Russian to be crowned Miss Universe.
Russia is not typically known as a huge pageant country. Oksana brought attention to the pageant, which, sparked interest and made people think, well, I can definitely do that.
As Miss Universe, Oksana would earn more than $250,000 in cash and prizes if she served the entire term. But 3 months into her reign, the new Miss Universe faced some problems.
Her year was difficult because you moved straight to New York, you have this new life. She couldn't even speak anything but Russian. She started slacking on a lot of her appearances.
Everybody wanted to see what is the Miss Universe from Russia. I had a photo shoot, I had an interview, I had a TV show, I had also fashion show. I didn't expect so many events.
Maybe she didn't think she was going to win, or she really didn't take it very seriously until she saw how many appearances she actually had to make.
Soon, Miss Universe was the topic of gossip.
There were rumors about Oksana, as per your question, that she was pregnant and that she was married. We found absolutely no basis in fact as to that allegation.
The truth was much less scandalous.
It was also the time in my university because I had to protect my dissertation.
She was supposed to be going to various events, and unfortunately, in many cases, she wasn't able to do that.
The people who were working with me, they asked, why you're not so happy? Because we can't hold you if you're not happy. And I said, yes, I'm not so happy.
With that in mind, Miss Universe officials called a press conference.
Over the last few months, it became apparent that Oksana Fedorova was unable to fulfill the obligations expected of a Miss Universe. And for that reason, the decision was made to end our relationship.
It was the first time in the pageant's 51 years that a Miss Universe was dethroned. With Oksana out, first runner-up Justine Pasek from Panama stepped in.
If somebody's not showing up, what are you going to do? So, you know what? You call upon the first runner-up and you crown them and you put them to work.
Losing her sash didn't hurt Oksana's career prospects.
I've got my PhD degree, I wrote my dissertation, and after this I taught civil law in my university.
In 2003 and 2005, Oksana ran for national office. She lost both times in close races, but Oksana still hopes to make her mark.
I know the difficult time in the life, I know the good time in the life, and I can make a difference.
Coming up, the British beauty and the sexy scandal involving a pageant judge.
Obviously, this called into question the credibility of the competition.
How do you score a tiara trifecta? First, you win a major pageant. Then, you get caught up in 2 high-profile scandals. Wearing the crown of beauty queen gone wrong, number 6, Danielle Lloyd.
I've always been quite a tomboy when I was much younger. I never really thought about beauty pageants until I got that little bit older, since I left high school.
The beautiful Brit showed serious promise as a pageant contestant. Lloyd dedicated herself to climbing the pageant ladder.
And when I come to the Miss Great Britain competition, I was really confident and really looking forward to the competition.
Rightly so. In February 2006, the 22-year-old took the top tiara.
When they said my name, I was like looking around thinking, what's just happened? And then it sort of just hit me, and it was amazing. It was an amazing feeling. I was so happy.
Danielle celebrated her win at the pageant's after party.
I ended up going just for an hour, and that's when I met Teddy, and it was just lovely. It was really sweet.
Teddy Sheringham was an all-star soccer player for West Ham United. He was also one of the pageant judges.
Obviously, I'd heard his name in football before, but I never knew exactly who he was. And he just come over and said congratulations and offered me a drink. And since that day, we were just speaking every day.
But rumors soon began to fly that the newly crowned pageant queen and the soccer star met before the competition.
Oh yeah, it was to do with an interview in a magazine that they said I'd got a pair of Jimmy Choo shoes for Christmas off Teddy.
The pageant rules regarding judges are so strict. For any encounter to happen before the judging or during the judging, absolutely not.
Danielle claimed she was misquoted.
Danielle's spokesperson was insisting all along that there was no way they were dating during the pageant.
Both Danielle and Terry had maintained that their relationship had started after the competition.
You're a queen for 1 year. If the love is there, it's not going anywhere. And you can do it in a respectable manner where it doesn't hurt the pageant system.
As if Miss Great Britain needed any more controversy, Danielle agreed to pose for Playboy.
It's like pretty nerve-wracking. It's the biggest magazine in the world. I've always dreamt of doing something like that.
By now, it should be clear that posing nude usually causes problems for reigning beauty queens.
Being nude, it's a whole other way of being looked at. You can never take those pictures back. Maxim is acceptable. Playboy is still taboo. Some people still look at Playboy as pornography. End of the day. That's it.
Danielle's pictures appeared in the December 2006 issue of Playboy. For pageant officials, this was the final straw.
First of all, they were suing me over the Playboy because apparently there was a clause in the contract. And then when we found out there wasn't a clause in the contract, they changed to me cheating, overseeing Teddy.
Danielle was dethroned. Both parties got into a legal battle about the matter. But before the litigation could be settled, Danielle generated more headlines.
In 2007, Danielle decided to participate in Celebrity Big Brother. While in the house, she ended up being at the center of a huge controversial storm when it emerged that she'd made comments that were taken as racist toward a Bollywood movie star by the name of Shilpa Shetty. She described her as a dog, she told her to go back to where she comes from, and she'd even made comments about Indian people eating with their hands. This was obviously received very badly.
For Danielle, the backlash was brutal.
And a lot of the British public, they wrote on the back of this and were very, very disgusted with the comments that she'd made.
Danielle eventually addressed the growing controversy.
I'm not a racist. I think Shilpa's a fantastic, beautiful lady, and I'm really, really sorry, Shilpa.
I really don't want to blame anyone, and especially not Danielle.
Danielle weathered one storm, but she still had to address the pageant scandal. In the end, officials with the Miss Great Britain pageant were satisfied that Danielle and Teddy hooked up after she won the crown.
We settled out of court. I was really just a relief that the whole world would know that, you know, I wasn't this cheat and a liar.
Coming up, two beauty queens go from headshots to mugshots. They're amazing stories.
He broke free from his ties, and the gun goes off.
Somebody's screaming help, and there was a gunshot.
It took years to become a beauty queen, and just one wild night to become a criminal defendant. Our beauty queen gone wrong, number 5, is Kumari Fulbright. In December of 2007, 25-year-old Kumari Fulbright was enjoying success on the pageant circuit.
Kumari Fulbright was Miss Desert Sun 2006, and so she was going to be competing in the Miss Arizona pageant.
This is definitely the kind of girl that you want to take home to mom and dad.
That's because Kumari had brains to match her beauty.
She was also a law school student and by all accounts a very smart young woman.
Law school is the most important thing to Kumari. She was actually just going through finals for her fall semester. She worked actually as an intern for a federal judge, which is an extremely coveted position. She was also writing for the Law Journal. She was on scholarship. Definitely a very busy woman.
Then on December 8th, 2007, Fulbright's life took a bizarre turn.
One of Kumari's neighbors called the police after they saw this guy running down the street.
911, what's the emergency? Somebody's screaming help, and there was a gunshot.
Police records report that the first 911 call came in at 10:51. Another call followed just seconds later.
911? That's right. What is the emergency? There's a guy across the street yelling, help me, and he's banging on the door and yelling, no, no, and I don't know what's going on.
He told police he claimed he went to Fulbright's home to help celebrate the completion of her law school exams. The man also told police that when Kumari excused herself to take a shower, 2 other men jumped out and bound and gagged him.
This guy is saying a lot of things. I believe the police report said that he alleges that she's put a butcher knife in his ear and that she wanted to stick it in his brain. I've seen no evidence that he had any cuts on his ear or anything like that, so again, one of many allegations.
The police report further claimed the alleged victim was transported to another location, where a 3rd man joined in the assault. Ultimately, the ex-boyfriend says he was taken back to Fulbright's house.
Apparently at the end of this incident, the 3 men that are accused of conspiring in this alleged kidnapping had left, and that it was just Kumari with the alleged victim. The alleged victim says that he broke free from his ties and that Kumari and him struggled over this gun. And the gun goes off.
According to police reports, neither Kumari nor her ex-boyfriend were injured. But the struggle reportedly spilled outside. The alleged victim screamed for help as he ran to a house down the street. Fulbright reportedly returned to her apartment.
When police got there, they immediately arrested Kumari.
On December 18, 2007, a Pima Grand County jury indicted Fulbright on 5 felony charges.
She was charged with 5 counts, 1 charge of kidnapping, 1 charge of robbery, aggravated robbery, and 2 counts of aggravated assault. I don't know exactly what happened, but certainly there's no question Kumari wasn't involved in this alleged altercation, that she had anything to do with any planning or preparation of a kidnapping.
Fulbright was released from the Pima County Jail after posting a $50,000 bail.
The charges against her are, and the things that are being said are devastating for her.
Ironically, the former beauty queen was featured in a 2008 calendar with sexy women posing with high-powered firearms.
Well, my hope is that she'll be totally exonerated and expect an acquittal once true facts come out for the case.
For many beauty queens, the end of their reign marks the beginning of a career on camera. One former Miss Williamsburg, Virginia got plenty of camera time for all the wrong reasons. At number 4 on our list, Tracy Michelle Lippard. By all appearances, Tracy Michelle Lippard had her life together. She was tall, beautiful, and talented.
Tracy Michelle Lippard was very much a veteran on the beauty pageant circuit.
In February 1993, Tracy won the title of Miss Williamsburg, Virginia. 10 months into her reign, Tracy went to a bar where she met a 26-year-old environmental cleanup worker named Todd Scott. According to court documents, they soon began dating.
Tracy had seen this as something that was very, very serious. She thought that they perhaps had a future together and that she really was the main woman in his life.
In December 1993, just 4 weeks after they met, Lippard discovered that Todd was also dating 25-year-old Melissa Weekle. To add insult to injury, Melissa was expecting Todd's baby.
Despite Todd getting another woman pregnant, Tracy actually continued the relationship with Todd for another 2 months.
I was the one that was supposed to be getting married. I was the one who had Bridesmaids magazine sitting at home.
Tracy was scheduled to pass on her crown to a new Miss Williamsburg, Virginia in February 1994. Court documents report that Tracy and Scott broke up just 10 days before the pageant.
She'd still expected Todd to be there. She'd saved him a front row seat. She'd planned to sing their song, The Power of Love. She really thought that he was going to be there to support her and still be a part of her life.
And you get your hopes up that he's going to be there, and then they don't show up.
Court testimony stated that Tracy became angry when Todd failed to arrive.
I had laid awake all night, you know, just wanting for once, wanting to know the truth from him.
According to police reports, Tracy drove 250 miles to the home of Todd's pregnant girlfriend. Carrying a hammer and a 9mm pistol, Lippard apparently didn't come to talk.
She was so frantic to get there that she even ended up getting a speeding ticket on the way there. Her ploy was to actually pretend that she had car troubles, just as a way to get herself inside the house so that she could launch her attack.
But things didn't go as planned.
Tracy gets to the house, she knocks on the door, Melissa's father answers, and what does he see? He sees a really pretty woman in high heels, who's sweet, who seems to be in trouble. What he doesn't know is in one hand, she has a hammer, and in her pocket, she has a gun.
I went to the cabinet to get her a glass, and She hit me in the top of the head with a hammer.
The elder Weekle had a secret of his own. He was a former Secret Service agent.
So he was actually able to recover from that blow to the head and throw her to the ground and get Tracy into a headlock, which then pretty much ruined the rest of her plan.
Police arrived and arrested Tracy. A number of charges were leveled against her, including 3 counts of attempted murder, battery, and brandishing a pistol. Tracy pled not guilty. Local reaction was swift and severe.
If she's guilty, she deserves to pay her dues, just like everyone else.
If you don't intend to harm anybody, why do you carry a list of weapons on you?
Tracy's lawyer actually got up in court and argued that Tracy is so beautiful, so pretty, that there's no way such a good-looking woman would ever commit a crime like that.
The state case seems to follow Psycho Barbie doll attempts murder. Does that make sense?
The jury answered yes.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Tracy Michelle Lippert, not guilty of attempted murder in the first degree, but guilty of attempted murder in the second degree.
I think this is the kind of case where you get some jail time.
I think she needs to find some sort of peace within her.
In the end, Tracy was convicted on 2 counts of attempted murder in the second degree and 5 lesser charges.
She was convicted of misdemeanors, not felonies, so she didn't serve as much jail time as she possibly could have.
In fact, she served just over 7 months.
A lot of people thought Tracy got off really easily. I mean, this is a woman who committed a real serious crime. People were shocked.
Being the victims, we just wanted justice, and their interpretation was a little different than ours.
I just wanted them to know that I'm very sorry that they went through this, and I wish them all the best.
Coming up, the shocking story of a beauty queen who went too far.
They had erotic undertones. It was just very sensational.
And later, Miss USA misbehaving.
They were ready for me to be gone because I was a pain in the ass.
She's dazzling.
If the saying is true that there's no such thing as bad publicity, our next beauty queen gone wrong is living proof. At number 3, former Miss America, Vanessa Williams. But before she was an award-winning singer and actress, Vanessa Williams was a trailblazer in the pageant world. Vanessa's high-profile journey began in the predominantly white middle-class suburb of Millwood, New York. As a little girl, Vanessa displayed promising musical talent.
The rule in the house was we had to take an instrument up through high school, and then you're allowed to do whatever you want after that.
Vanessa eventually received a scholarship to Syracuse University. A beauty pageant scout saw her perform and approached her about entering the Miss Greater Syracuse contest.
And we said, oh, that sounds like fun. What do you get? And she said, well, she would get money for the scholarship. So she decided to take part in it.
I wasn't groomed to be a beauty pageant contestant, nothing against, people that their life goal is Miss America, but, it wasn't in my house, and, I wanted to be on Broadway.
But Vanessa quickly became a pageant pro. Within 6 months, she won Miss Greater Syracuse, then Miss New York. Next stop, Miss America.
Vanessa's is such a Cinderella story, and she had very, very little pageant experience, which was absolutely not the norm.
I remember her dad on that Saturday morning of the finals running up the boardwalk and saying to me, everybody says Vanessa's going to win, Vanessa's going to win. And I said, Milt, don't count your chickens.
Sometimes Father knows best. In September 1983, 20-year-old Vanessa made history when she was crowned Miss America.
She was the first African-American woman to become Miss America, which was huge. Her year was monumental.
For almost a year, Vanessa gloried in her triumph.
Vanessa, won the pageant in September, served for 10 months, and was a wonderful Miss America.
Then, according to published reports, in July 1984, Vanessa received a shocking phone call.
So she really had it going for her, and got a call one day saying that some photos had surfaced from a photographer that had taken some pictures of her way prior to competing.
She apparently took some pictures with another female for a guy who said, I'm going to experiment on this new silhouette lighting idea that I have. Would you pose for me?
Modeling my ass. I've seen them. Isn't her tongue like very close to... Yeah, okay.
Vanessa was absolutely shocked. She thought these photos were taken privately. She thought they had been destroyed, and she said she never even signed a release for them to be published.
After viewing the photos, I was enraged, and I felt a deep sense of personal embarrassment.
She didn't know that her face was going to be seen. They had erotic undertones, and it was just very, very, it was just very sensational for that day and age.
Vanessa immediately contacted her lawyer and her parents. Her next call was to the head of the Miss America organization, Albert Marks.
He said to her, describe the photos to me. And he said, well, I think we can work around this. And he hung up the phone.
But after viewing the pictures, Marks changed his mind.
We have today asked Miss Williams to relinquish her crown and the title of Miss America 1984. We will give her 72 hours to give that request consideration.
On July 23rd, 1984, Vanessa Williams stood before the media.
The potential harm to the pageant has convinced me that I must relinquish my title as Miss America.
I really was one of those little girls that watched her win Miss America and who like really looked up to her and was like, I want to be that, I want to do that one day. So, it was sad. She's this beautiful, talented African-American woman who I looked up to and I mirrored myself with.
Vanessa was immediately dropped from several major product endorsements worth an estimated $2 million. The public still hadn't seen the pictures. Playboy magazine publisher Hugh Hefner admitted that he had been offered Vanessa's photos, but turned them down.
There was no standard model release, and that is not the kind of thing that we like to do.
But the pictures did end up in another magazine. In September 1984, Penthouse published the nude photos, reportedly without Vanessa's permission.
We sold, I think, 5.6 million copies of that issue of Penthouse.
Vanessa filed a $500 million suit against Penthouse publisher Bob Guccione and photographer Tom Chiapel.
Vanessa Williams insisted in the beginning that she never signed a model release, and we had taken advantage of her. She was an innocent girl, blah, 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 blah. We had pictures of a reigning Miss America together with a model release signed by her, giving the photographer permission to sell the photographs to whomever he pleased.
Williams later dropped the lawsuit. According to her rep, Vanessa wanted to avoid a drawn-out legal battle and move on with her life. Mission accomplished.
It was a tough time for her. She took a little hit from that and became an adult, and pretty much immediately.
Vanessa released her first solo album in 1988 and earned 3 Grammy nominations. TV appearances, movies, and Broadway followed.
Vanessa is one of those very lucky women that was able to take her controversy and spin it in a positive way. And Vanessa just happened to be so smart and so talented and so beautiful that she was able to swing it.
When we return, a beauty queen's battle to save her sash.
I think that we've all had our wild, crazy nights and our tough times. Unfortunately, I got caught.
Love hurts.
I want you to be with me.
This hurts more.
I'm gay.
You are?
The Object of My Affection. Saturday at 8, part of E's Summer Funflex.
The internet has made life easier for most people. Not Katie Reese. An online photo scandal elevated Katie to #2 on our list of beauty queens gone wrong.
Oh my gosh, I was so embarrassed when I saw those pictures on the internet. I was mostly embarrassed for my family.
In December 2006, Katie Reese was the reigning Miss Nevada, just one competition away from her dream of becoming Miss USA. But when pageant officials found risque shots of Reese on MySpace, Katie's pageant career came to a screeching halt.
I was just shocked.
Katie grew up in Florida, and it seemed like she had a really pretty good childhood.
At age 5, Katie won her first crown. Years later, after briefly attending Central Florida University, Katie started competing again while working on a modeling career.
In October 2006, Katie entered the Miss Nevada USA pageant for the very first time, and she won.
Everything with pageants has been positive for me because I love the stage, and I love to perform, and I love to get dressed up. So everything has been really good. I made a lot of really good friends and learned great interview skills. It's been fun.
Katie reveled in her duties as Miss Nevada USA. She participated in several charities, Toys for Tots, the Special Olympics, and the Goody Two-Shoes giveaway. But Katie had even bigger goals for 2007.
It was my first year out, and I won Miss Nevada, and I had planned on going all the way to Miss USA and making the state proud.
In December 2006, a Las Vegas television station first broke the news. Several photos of Reese appeared on the MySpace page of a local promoter. According to published reports, the website advertised legal escort services for a firm called Vegas Arm Charms.
She had some racy pictures that were posted on the internet, and she was making out with some of her girlfriends. She was pulling down her pants in one.
I heard that the pictures came out when my director had called me during Christmas break. I was home with my family for 2 weeks, and I got a phone call that she had seen 2 or 3 pictures of me, and then next thing I knew, I saw them on the news and on the internet, and I forgot that they were so bad.
According to Katie, the photos were taken 3 years earlier in 2003 when she was just 19 years old.
As each picture came across my desk every day on the computer, I mean, it got to the point where I'd show up to work and be like, what am I going to see today? Each day, it was more body parts being bared. They were very raunchy, degrading photos. Baring her breasts, kissing other women.
The pictures got out because an old friend of mine, well, was a friend of mine, had taken some modeling pictures of me as well. He wanted to be a photographer, and we had just moved around on the beach. And those showed up on the news along with the other pictures.
Katie says she had been drinking the night the pictures were taken.
I did recall the pictures, and I recall my friends and I thinking to ourselves, we should probably get those pictures back, but I did not recall how many there were, and some of them so out there.
Katie held a press conference to defend herself.
So many of us just don't realize how our actions, even one night of poor judgment, can affect the rest of our lives. I sincerely want to put this behind me.
But by December 20th, 2006, there was no turning back.
My director called me and asked me if I would give up the crown and if I would resign, and I said absolutely not, because they were just from so many years ago, and this is somebody taking a cheap shot at me, probably for just monetary value. So I said no, definitely not.
But when you're looking at somebody and they're representing your state, you do want them to be wholesome. You want them to be honest and have some substance.
The fact that my incident was 3 years prior to me even thinking of doing Miss Nevada, which I don't see how you can be held accountable for something like that. I mean, my gosh, I was just having a good time with my friends while I was in college. If you don't give people second chances, how are they ever going to learn or grow? I think that we've all had our wild, crazy nights and our tough times. Unfortunately, I got caught.
Katie's fate would ultimately rest in the hands of the Miss USA pageant and its owner, Donald Trump. There was just one complication.
I want to apologize to my family if I put any disgrace upon you.
Trump was also in the middle of another pageant scandal, this one involving the reigning Miss USA. When we return, Tara, Katie, and the surprising decisions that rocked the pageant world.
This
has been a very difficult time for the Miss USA pageant.
On December 20th, 2006, racy photos of Miss Nevada USA Katie Reese appeared on the internet. Pageant officials asked Katie to give up her crown. She refused. To complicate matters, just 2 days before the Katie Reese scandal went public, the reigning Miss USA became the center of a crisis that threw the pageant into a tailspin. Her very public controversy earns Tara Conner the title as our #1 beauty queen gone wrong.
I was crowned, I think, April the 21st of 2006. My role as Miss USA, we champion breast and ovarian cancer awareness, and you know, you're immediately moved to New York for the year, so my life completely changed.
For Tara, not all those changes were for the better.
I want to apologize to my family if I put any disgrace upon you.
Before a sensational fall, Tara's meteoric rise in the pageant world began in rural Kentucky. Tara began competing at age 4. In 2002, the pageant veteran finished second runner-up in the Miss Teen USA pageant.
Kentucky!
In 2005, at age 19, Tara coasted to victory as Miss Kentucky USA. The Miss USA title was in her sights.
Typically, when you get to the Miss USA pageant, they're all beautiful, and they all have a great body, and you know what? It's very difficult. The girl that usually wins is the one that has an intangible quality.
On April 21st, 2006, before millions of TV viewers, Tara Conner was crowned Miss USA.
When I was 13, I told my mom, I said, one of these days I'm going to be that girl. I'm going to bring it home for Kentucky. And it happened. And then, you know, they put the crown on my head. I think I'm the only one that didn't cry. I was just kind of like, what now? You know, so, wow.
Tara immediately moved into Manhattan, where she shared an apartment in Trump Place with Miss Universe, Sulike Rivera, and Miss Teen USA, Katie Blair.
There's a lot of perks with being Miss USA. You know, you're moved into a posh New York apartment. Hello! And you have a stylist, and you have to get your nails done, you know, once every 2 weeks. And you get a massage every month, and your hair's done for free. You're constantly pampered, but you're also immediately a public figure. So along with all of the perks comes a very hectic schedule. Your life is literally controlled by an organization of about 27 people for the entire year. And you don't stop.
Tara soon found herself at odds with her obligations.
I've always been very strong-willed, and I'm very, very bullheaded. So for me being very independent, having someone control my every move really bothered me. And I really didn't know how to separate Miss USA and Tara, and I couldn't merge the two together either. It was so hard.
The 20-year-old admitted she took comfort in some old habits.
I was underage, but I'd been drinking since I was 14, and I'd been partying since I was younger, and that's just the only way I knew how to unwind.
Pageant rules forbid underage drinking.
But I, of course, try to find loopholes with everything. I'm like, oh, 1 a.m., the clubs are starting them off work. Great. You know, I would sneak out so the girls didn't know that I was leaving. I would take service elevators so that they would check cameras on me because that was quite festive.
The president of the Miss Universe organization, Paula Shugart, heard rumors about Tara's drinking, but without proof, Shugart's hands were tied. Tara could sense pageant officials were onto her.
They were ready for me to be gone because I was a pain in the ass. I was a compulsive liar. But I didn't trust anyone. I didn't want anyone to know who I actually was because I felt that I had to be that Miss USA. And I did everything to protect myself while I was killing myself throughout the whole process.
Tara had crossed the line. Pageant officials tried to keep the growing scandal quiet while they decided what to do with their wayward queen.
My life completely changed in a matter of 24 hours. And by when TMZ broke it at 7:30, by the end of the day, I was on every news channel. Is she going to keep her title or is she going to lose it?
Ironically, when the crisis broke, Tara was relieved.
It felt good to actually be called out because I was like, you know what? Finally, I get to just be like, okay, here I am. This is what I've done. This is what I'm capable of. This is what I'm not capable of. This is what I'm guilty of. And that's how Donald Trump got pulled into the picture.
Pageant owner Donald Trump called a press conference.
And he said, what would you like me to do? Like, how am I supposed to fix this? You know, and I told him, I said, I think that it would say far more about your character and far more about the organization if you give me an opportunity to make it right.
After speaking with Tara, I believe that she can do a tremendous service to young people.
I said, and you know what? If I fall on my ass, then take the title. You know, you can have it. But if you give me the chance, I promise you I'll turn this around.
I'm willing to do whatever it takes, not only given a chance to have time to better myself, but to better me as a Miss USA. And I plan on walking out of this the best Miss USA that you've ever seen. And I promise you that.
I've always been a believer in second chances. Tara is going to be given a second chance.
And he said, okay, well, I think that you need to go to rehab. And I was like, all right.
She knows that if she makes even the slightest mistake from here on, she will be immediately replaced.
So Tara was allowed to serve out her term as Miss USA. But would Trump's other tarnished beauty queen be so lucky? While Miss USA reps were dealing with the Tara Conner controversy, lurid photos of Miss Nevada USA Katie Reese were found on MySpace. Pageant officials asked Reese to resign, but Katie said no. The same day Tara Conner's fate was announced at a press conference, Katie heard from her pageant director.
She called me back and said, well, they're taking your crown away. And she said, how would you like the letter? By, you know, fax, email, FedEx, or the regular mail. So it was pretty quick, all in one day.
Apparently, Katie's provocative pictures were more than Trump and the pageant committee could forgive. On December 21st, 2006, Paula Shugart announced that due to the compromising photos, Katie Reese had been relieved of her duties as Miss Nevada USA. Donald Trump supported the ruling. Katie thought the decision was hypocritical.
If you're going to take one girl's crown away, take the others away. Or if you're going to let her keep her crown, then give me a second chance, too. I don't believe that that's fair. You know, a direct quote from Trump is, everybody deserves a second chance. So I think forgiveness is definitely something that should be considered.
Katie vowed to keep pursuing her dreams. A little more than a year later, Katie was back in the headlines.
Well, February 2008, guess what? Katie gets arrested. And it was a huge story because there she was again.
Las Vegas police booked Reese on 5 misdemeanor traffic charges and resisting arrest. On April 13th, 2008, Katie pled no contest to the misdemeanor traffic charges. In exchange, the resisting arrest charge was dropped, and she was fined $1,312. Meanwhile, Tara's prospects are looking up.
My life has completely changed. I'm a completely different person.
After successfully completing rehab, Tara is now pursuing an acting career and has also returned to the Miss Universe organization to work as a mentor on drug and alcohol issues.
I never thought that I would be saying that Donald Trump helped give me the tools to live a normal, happy, healthy life. And, you know, he basically gave me my springboard to live, and I'm forever grateful for him for that.
We've seen the highs and the lows that come with becoming a beauty queen. In the words of Shakespeare, heavy is the head that wears the crown.